Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. It is Sunday. I hope you're all enjoying your weekend wherever you're watching this round the world. UK glorious over here, sun's out. And I hope you're all going to have a very good Sunday. So, Arsenal are going to be in the Community Shield. We know that is another fixture scheduled in to the pre-season calendar now. It's going to be Arsenal versus Manchester City at, I presume, Wembley. I haven't double checked that, but I presume it's Wembley. I know it wasn't last year because Wembley was booked, so it was City versus Liverpool at, I think it was at Leicester, wasn't it? The King Power Stadium. But I presume this one is going to be at Wembley on August the 6th. Whether that's Arsenal's final pre-season game of the summer, I'm not yet sure. As I said yesterday, there's talk that they might of the Emirates Cup. I'm not sure, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but there is talk of the Emirates Cup, and I heard it might be squeezed in a midweek, but I can't imagine you'd do it on a midweek, would you? I don't know. So you've got, obviously, the game in Germany, which we're expecting to be confirmed at some point against Nuremberg, I believe. And then the trip to USA with the 3 games there against the All-Stars, Barcelona and Man United. The Manchester City game in the Community Shield and potentially an Emirates Cup, but we'll wait and see on that. But certainly the pre-season now taking shape. Be interesting to see how Arsenal do in that Community Shield. They tend to do very well in the Community Shield, but obviously this is against Man City, who, let's face it, we can't lay a glove on at the moment, unfortunately. Might well be a little bit different. Obviously, teams aren't fully prepared in pre-season, so we'll see how it goes. It's certainly going to be a very intense game to sort of go into the new season. Could be a bit of a marker to see exactly where Arsenal are, who's signed by that point. So it'll be an interesting one. Mikel Arteta, I'm sure, will be looking forward to it. And yeah, you sort of go into the season with a victory over Manchester City on your sort of on the back. You can go in with quite a bit of momentum. So yeah, that'll be an interesting one. August the 6th at Wembley, Arsenal versus Manchester City. Convincing win really for City in the final. Yesterday it was only 2-1, but you know, the scoreline certainly didn't reflect their dominance in that game. They were miles better than Man United. I still don't know how United got that penalty, honestly. I don't understand. When you look at some of the handball decisions that aren't given, and I'm not a ref, so I don't know the rules inside and out. So, you know, obviously, I presume by the letter of the law, that was a penalty yesterday because, A, the VAR wouldn't have recommended the referee to go and have a look at it on the screen if it wasn't. And then the referee, when looking at the screen, wouldn't have given the penalty. So I presume they got it right by the letter of the law. But you just look at that and think, how on earth is that a penalty? I don't know what else he's supposed to do in that situation, Grealish. He's jumping backwards, his eyes are shut, his arms are just there, he's not sticking his arm out to stop the ball, it just hits him. And you see that time and time again in different situations, different scenarios in the penalty area where it's not given, like really blatant ones. I remember a few for Arsenal this season, I can't pinpoint them exactly, but there were some of those that you just think that has to be a handball, and then it's not given. So I don't get how that one was yesterday, but anyway, I thought City were deserving winners. Ilkay Gundogan once again coming up absolutely clutch for them. 2 goals. First goal after 13 seconds. What a strike that was. Second goal, not quite so good a strike. Pretty much shinned or kneed it in. Somehow it managed to squirm in through a crowd of players and past De Gea, who moved very, very slowly. Must have been unsighted for it. But, you know, big games this season. Not just this season, last season as well. Gundogan just steps up time and time again, just such a clutch player for them in the big occasion, and it could well be his final game for Manchester City. He was talking about it afterwards, Pep Guardiola was talking about it afterwards, as I spoke about it in yesterday's video. You know, Arsenal very, very interested in signing Gundogan. They do want him, but you know, it feels like Barcelona is potentially with the place he's going to end up, but we will wait and see how that progresses. Gundogan was talking about his future and was asked, how can you leave Man City? Think about leaving Manchester City after days like this, after the season you've had and all that sort of stuff. And he said, to be honest, I don't need these kind of days to feel appreciated and to feel special at this club. I know that is why I'm here already 7 years with all the ups and downs I've had so far. Nothing is decided yet. So we're going to go and see what's going to happen. You know, City's still trying to get Gundogan to stay. They want him to stay. There's the issue about, how long the contract is. Seems like he wants a 3-year deal at the moment. City not too keen on giving him that 3-year deal. Barcelona potentially are. And that's why reports in Spain at the moment are suggesting that he is sort of leaning towards moving to Barcelona. Guardiola speaking about it yesterday, he says, about Gundogan, he said, he knows what I think. Maybe someone of you know, we are neighbours. We live on the same floor for many years. He's a close friend of mine as a player. He's exceptional. Hopefully we can finish in a good way. Tixie, which is Bergenstein, the City Director of Football, is working, and hopefully we can do it, because this season what he has done is exceptional. Don't forget, against Villa he scored the 2 goals as well. That was last season when they won the title at the end of the season in that comeback against City on the final day. This season he scored so many times. He scored so many important goals. So we'll see what happens. We're going to do, and like I said, Arsenal are trying. They do want him, but it kind of feels to me like he's sort of looking towards Barcelona, and that's just assumption. That's not based on any information I have. But I just feel like if you're going to try something new, if you want to try something new, and if you're going to leave Man City now at this point when they're this good, when they're winning all this stuff, it's because you want to try something new before you end your career. I just feel like is going down to a team who aren't as good as Manchester City, which, let's face it, Arsenal aren't at the moment, in the same league. Is that really something new? I don't really feel like it is. Yes, it's a different city, but that's about it. I feel like, you go to Barcelona, he's not played in Spain before. That's how you finish your career. You go really properly try something new. But we'll wait and see. Money talks at the end of the day, so we'll see who gets that deal done. But I've said it many times, I think it'd be a fantastic signing if Granit Xhaka does end up leaving, which hasn't happened yet, but we'll wait and see as that summer progresses. It still feels to me like he will be. Gundogan would be a brilliant replacement in that number, sort of in that 8 role that Xhaka plays. We know how many goals he scored. Yes, he's old. I know he's old. He's 32, 33, I think, even nearly. But he's not showing any signs of tiring yet. I wouldn't really want to go down the 3-year route for him. I think if you can get him on a 2-year potentially with an option, that would be a good thing. You wouldn't want to give him a massive long-term contract. Arsenal have been stung like that before, but I don't see any issue in Arsenal signing Gundogan on a free transfer if he's there and if he's available and if he's willing to come. I think it'd be a fantastic addition, really bolster the squad, bring in that experience. We know he's still doing it. We're watching it week in, week out. He's still doing it at this level, and doesn't show any real signs of slowing up just yet. And leadership-wise, behind the scenes, everything about him, I think, could be absolute quality for a couple of years. But we'll see what happens with that. Elsewhere, Folarin Balogun finished his fantastic loan spell yesterday with Reims with a goal. No surprising, kind of sums up the season he's had. So that's 21 goals now for Balogun. I think in 39 appearances he scored for them. Scored against Marseille yesterday on the final day of the French season. So now that's over, we'll wait and see what happens with him. I think he's going to be one of the big stories of the summer at Arsenal in terms of possible outgoings. Reims absolutely love him. They presented him on the pitch yesterday before the game with a big sort of painting, like the big print of sort of multiple celebrations that he's done. They've absolutely loved him there. He's a hero. He's scored so many goals for him. Obviously they can't sign him, they can't afford to sign him, so they know that this chapter of his sort of career is done and they haven't got a chance of bringing him back. So yesterday was kind of a bit of a celebration in terms of what he's achieved there, and now we wait and see who comes in. We wait and see what sort of bid comes in. Milan, Napoli, Leipzig, whether Premier League club. I keep thinking, would West Ham be interested? Could you possibly tie Balogun into Declan Rice? We keep hearing West Ham would be willing to accept some players in exchange for Declan Rice as well as cash. They need a striker, really. I think Scamacca obviously hasn't worked out very well. Antonio's not getting any younger. You kind of look at Balogun and think, is that someone who they might be interested in? Could you include him as part of the deal to get Rice over the line? Potentially. Again, that's me just saying something off the top of my head. That's not based on any information or anything, but it kind of feels like that could potentially be something that could happen. So we'll wait and see what happens with Balogun, but he's finished his stay in France in true two strikers style yesterday with a goal to round it all off, and what a season he's had. Absolutely fantastic. Mason Mount, in terms of him, look, it seems like Arsenal, that ship has sailed, although they've been interested. They have had talks to him. It seems like Man United, it feels like a bit of a matter of time now. It's been reported that official talks have now sort of started between United and Chelsea to try and get a deal done. Chelsea haven't given up yet on re-signing Mason Mount, but all signs pointing towards a potential exit this summer, and it's going to be a case of how much money they can get for him. United have moved to the front of the queue ahead of Arsenal, ahead of Liverpool. Be a big blow for Liverpool, that, because Liverpool really thought they were going to get him at one point before the end of the season when they were putting their plans in place. It looks like they're going to get McAllister from Brighton anyway. He's a fantastic player, but they were certainly hoping they were going to get Mason Mount. But money talks, as I say, and it seems like Manchester United have certainly laid down the most money on the table in terms of a potential contract for Mason Mount, and he will be heading there at some point this summer. Doesn't really worry me too much. I think Mason Mount would have been a good sign, and I think he's a good player. There was a lot of negativity from Arsenal fans about why they were even bothering talking with Mason Mount, which I didn't really understand, because yes, he's had a bad season, but everyone's had a bad season this season for Chelsea. I don't think you can judge players on what Chelsea have done this season, because it's been such a mess there behind the scenes, and there's just been no one's been able to sort of show themselves in a good light in the mess of that club this season. So you sort of look at what Mason Mount did before this season for Chelsea, and the numbers stack up there. He's great, but if Emil Smith-Rowe is staying and he's going to actually be given a chance by Mikel Arteta, then I don't really care about Mason Mount, because why would you sign Mason Mount if you've got Smith-Rowe and you're actually willing to give him an opportunity to play next season? It doesn't make too much sense to me, so I'm not overly bothered about that one. Marquinhos finished his under-20s World Cup yesterday. Disappointing exit for Brazil against Israel, losing 3-2 in extra time. It's been a very good tournament for Marquinhos. In fact, he scored one goal, set up a couple of goals as well. Interesting to see what happens with Marquinhos next season at Arsenal. Look, I don't think he's going to be around the first team squad next season. I think he needs to go out on loan again, maybe for the full season this time. He went out in January to Norwich, had a really good start, scored in his debut. Couldn't really maintain that, was sort of in and out of the side. But that's to be expected. His first loan spell over here in England after making a move from Arsenal. It's all about sort of learning for him over the next couple of years to see how he can get on. He's got the attributes, we've seen it. He's a strong lad, he's fast, he's got an eye for goal, he can finish, his delivery can be decent as well. It's just about sort of honing that all together now, getting him playing regularly and seeing how he can go on and kick on. It might not be at Arsenal, but potentially he's a player that you could look at making some profit in a couple of years. So I think this summer's going to be really interesting for Marquinhos, the decision Arsenal are going to make on him. I'm fully expecting him to go out on loan. I don't think necessarily it has to be an English loan. I think when you look at him, he could benefit from a spell abroad somewhere as well. Maybe go to Spain, maybe follow Balogun and head over to France, something like that. But he just needs to play properly now. And such a really popular member of the squad. He made a big impact at Arsenal when he arrived last summer. The plan was, when he first came, was to immediately get him out, send him out on loan, let him have the full season. But they decided to let him stick around for the first 6 months because of the impact he made. He came in, impressed everyone, didn't speak any English, but he really made an effort, and he impressed in training as well. They gave him some opportunities, impressed in some games. Think of that match against, I've forgotten who it is now, the first game in the Europa League when he scored and set up the other goal. Was someone in Austria, wasn't it? It's totally gone out of my head now, but he sort of came in and even made an impact in the first team as well. And Mikel Arteta spoke really praiseworthy about him when was asked about Marquinhos early on. He did then start to lose his way a little bit in some of the other further opportunities he got in the first team. He looked a little bit not at the level that you needed, and that's why in the end he got sent out on loan. But he had that good first 6 months to acclimatise to England, to acclimatise to Arsenal. But it just feels this summer now is a big one for him. Get the loan right, choose the right team, make sure he goes somewhere he can play, and then he can really impress, because he's impressed, like I said, in his under-20s World Cup. In a very strong Brazil side that's featured a lot of big name sort of youngsters that they've got over there. He came in kind of late to the party. He got a bit of a late call-up, but he really impressed and forced his way into the side and made an impact in the final third. So he's very talented. I think he's got a lot of talent, Marquinhos, from what I've seen, but needs to go out, have a good spell on loan, whether that be in the Championship in England or head out to somewhere abroad and just get some very key game time. I think Arsenal got some big decisions to make loan-wise next season. They've started to use the loan market very, very well. Balogun was such a huge success this season. They need more of that. It's something that they've been way behind on, but they're really improving over the last couple of years. And I think, some of the big decisions to make on the loan market is going to be really crucial in terms of not just developing players, but potentially making the players more valuable to sell and bringing funds further down the line. All right, that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. As per usual, anything you've agreed with, disagreed with, anything you want to comment on, please do hit me up in the comments below. I always go through them, try and reply as well to as many as I possibly can. Have a very good Sunday, everyone. Have a great end to your weekend. I'll speak to you soon.